Welcome to Wall Street Confidential. It's a controversial subject, the financials. Which banks are good, which banks are bad, which ones are solvent, insolvent. And Jim, in your latest action alerts, you're talking about JP Morgan Chase and Wells Fargo as the best of the banks.
Right.
What does best mean?
Okay, well, that means that they probably have the best management of the bad assets. Now, I think that I've done a lot of work on what a bad bank would look like, and it's the FDIC. The FDIC is the bad bank. What I think that they're going to do with the banks, that the government's going to do, and it's not been written about, this is my own conjecture, is they will give you a certificate, a net worth certificate, which will tell you you can have all this capital that you need in order to be able to work out things, and in return you give us a note, which is that, you know, we give you 10 billion, you give us a note for 10 billion, no cash changes hand, and they work things out over time, okay? And the reason why they have to do this is because they have to take a hit, all right? You have to take a hit because you can't sell these, you can't work these things out unless you take a hit. But if you took the hit, then you would be in violation of the regulatory capital standards. What I like about what JP Morgan and Wells Fargo can do is that they can if my plan works, they can very quickly sell down the bad assets because they have a lot of whole loans, and they are generating a lot of new business, and that's the key thing. Everybody else seems stuck, so they don't have new business to make up for the bad business. Wells and JP Morgan are actually growing, so they can grow their way out of the hole they're in, and they will not be, I mean, one of the things that people are going to have to be cognizant of is there will be a lot of banks that will be seized. Because what will happen is they'll say, listen, we need $5 billion to work out of the hole, okay? So they'll get $5 billion for the government in return for this note, and after the $5 billion, if they come back for more, they'll be seized. These two will not be seized. There won't be any nationalization of the big banks. They will all work out the way my thesis I think happens. But JP Morgan and Wells are growing, and that's what we saw this quarter, was that they're doing enough new business that they can work off the bad business.
And it seems that from your theory, they would be positioned to acquire a lot of these other banks.
FDIC is going to have to seize a lot of banks, clean them up. They take the bad loans, you get the deposits, okay? I see these two banks getting a huge deposit base from the FDIC. Now, I could be wrong, and they really do create this bad bank. Now, the reason why the bad bank is, I think, simplistic is it doesn't provide capital for when the companies take the hit. Let's say the average mortgage is at 75 on the balance sheet, or it's at face value at 100. Okay, so if are you going to get the government to pay 100, get par? I don't think so. Is the government going to pay 70? I don't think so. Maybe the asset's worth 50, but if they write it down to 50, then they're out of capital. So the bad bank must, on its own, not succeed. It needs the other program that I added. Either way, JP Morgan and Wells, because they have growth, will see their way through this. And they're both, by the way, Wells Fargo, repeatedly, the bears have said that the numbers are all phony. Repeatedly. I have trouble with that. I think that the company's a very well-run bank, and most banks aren't.
All right. It's a leap of faith in some cases.
Yes, it is.
Thanks very much, Jim. If you want to get in on the action with Jim Cramer, this information all in his Action Alerts Plus portfolio email alerts. Get in those emails, action@thestreet.com. Stay tuned.